Okay, I'm on chapter 102, and we gotta cover a lot of stuff because I got a lot of questions and a lot of thoughts. First off, the boys don't know, even now after all this time. I mean, it makes sense because Dalinar obviously isn't gonna tell Adolin and Renarin when they're so young the truth, and then he had his memories. It's like, wiped by the Night Watcher. So, on the one hand, it's not surprising, but on the other, I'm like, oh man, if they found out now, that would be so bad. And then Nightblood is talking to Szeth, and he says that Vasher is now teaching swordplay. How does Nightblood know what Vasher is up to? Everything around Vivenna, Vasher, and Nightblood is just like eating at the back of my mind because I need to know. Because last time I saw, Vasher went off into the sunset, Vivenna went with him, and next thing we know, Vasher is teaching the Kholin family how to use swords, trained Adolin, and then trained Bridge 4, and Vivenna goes by Azure, and she has, I'm assuming, an awakened sword, but Nightblood was with Nin. It was then given to Szeth. So, what happened to those three? And Vivenna said that she came to Roshar looking for a criminal, like a bounty hunter. So, and she carried Nightblood for a while. So, who? Why? What? The fact that there are perfect gemstones in Shadesmar that never lose their light, that seems pretty useful. Especially if you were a Radiant and you had a perfect gemstone. That'd be kind of cool. But Syl in Shadesmar is corporeal? Is that the right word? Or not non-corporeal? Physical? Whatever the word is where she's basically like a person and she has skin and darker tan skin, kind of like an Alethi, and it's clothes and is less spiritual, spirit-like and more physical. And then I just kept thinking, I don't know if this is allowed or possible, but are Kaladin and Syl gonna get together? Is that are they gonna bond? Is that a thing? Can that happen? What happens if it does? Huh? And who is that Shin guy that has a Palantir and is oh, you're here for a fortune? Yeah, we'll pay whatever. And then Kaladin was able to use it and see into the future, and is whoa, you're a Radiant? You can do that? Huh? Interesting. And another question I had was why are Dalinar's memories coming back now? What changed? And why are they happening gradually? Very curious. And also, I feel so bad because Dalinar is just floodgates open. It's when you shove all that trauma and shit down and then it just pops up one day and he's remembering everything, where he had convinced himself that he could be a good, honorable man, and now he has to deal with actually you're an absolute monster. And the voice keeps saying give me your pain, give me your pain. I'm assuming that's Odium, but why? Why would Odium want Dalinar's pain? And Dalinar is bonded with the Stormfather, so is there conflicting interests going on? There's a lot happening right now. And the thrill. Is the thrill of Odium, is that an effect that he has on people? Is he behind the thrill? Because that would be wild. That'd be really wild. And the fact that an Ardent shows up and calls Dalinar a heretic to his face, says, by the way, you're a heretic. And Dalinar's I'm going to kill this guy. I gotta get out of here. That is terrible. It's one thing to have a bloodlust when the adrenaline is going up in the middle of a fight or in the middle of, battle and war and the adrenaline just takes over. But it's another thing when you're just hanging out and you're stressed and then the thrill comes on and it's like a psychopath who can't control themselves. That's terrifying. And not just for anyone in the vicinity, but also for Dalinar himself. To not be able to control that would be awful. And even the Stormfather said something's wrong. Which, what is that? Is Odium and the Stormfather fighting over Dalinar right now? Because, if I was Odium, I would for sure want Dalinar on my team. He's a one-man, army. That'd be crazy. But the Stormfather's kind of taken, sort of a backseat, but not. And then Dalinar Dalinar was able to use an Oathgate without a shard blade. What was that? Evie's voice saying "this is who you are" is pretty diabolical. That sucks. That sucks real bad. And then in Shadesmar, there's a Spren that has like her eyes scratched out, and they're called Deadeye. And Deadeyes, like those type of Spren that I guess are Radiant Spren that were killed forever ago. And Adolin's blade is that Spren, which is kind of crazy. And Eco, the captain of the ship that they're on, his father was a Deadeye, and he like just keeps him in the brig of his ship. This is another wild thing that's been happening. Seeing things from Shadesmar, I'll be honest, does help. As you guys know, I've had a really hard time digesting and understanding exactly what a Spren is, but being on the other side in Shadesmar, where like, anticipation Spren or whatever, on our side, you just get like little, tendrils, but then on this side, you're like, oh, here's the full thing, and they're just able to like kind of reach through, or like Pattern. Basically, his head is all that shows up in the real world, but the rest of him stays in Shadesmar, so he can't quite pierce the veil. That's pretty wild. Anyway, I'm on chapter 102 now, so let's see what happens.